Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. So happy to be here. I see a couple of you are already joining live. Thank you so much for showing up here. I am elated, over the moon, purple moon excited, okay, to have this kick off for our first live stream. Now listen, I've been live on all the platforms for years. I've been live on particularly on Facebook and Instagram. And today, for the first time, I am joining you here on LinkedIn. Okay, so this is my debut on both LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to the Resuscitation Room. This is your weekly dose of business vitality. This is your sanctuary. Okay, this is where we are breathing life, new life into businesses and legacies on the brink. We are going from flatline to frontline line. Okay, it is in this room right here, where dreams get a second chance, not just to survive, but to thrive. And so this series is your front row seat to turning critical conditions into unparalleled successes every single week, same time, same place. We're going to be peeling back the layers to talking about unconventional or conventional successes, right? Those narratives that reveal the underlying truth, the heart pumping, soul stirring truths beneath it all. In other words, I am throwing you a lifeline. You hear me? I am throwing you a lifeline. When they say there's no one that's going to rescue you but yourself, part of that is true, but I am here to rescue you today. Okay. I am here to throw you the lifeline that you are so looking for. We are going to talk about the underlying issues, and I am going to be specifically talking about how we are empowering you to revive your empire and elevate your life. Now, I'm going to be sort of looking around here because I want to make sure I'm paying particular attention to each and every one of you since I am simulcasting. So I am going to be giving you my full and undivided attention, of course, but I want to make sure that I'm catching all of the comments that you have here. If you're on my Facebook page, on my Facebook profile, in my Facebook group, be sure to give StreamYard permission so that I can see your beautiful faces and I know exactly who I'm interacting with. So that if you want to make a comment, and I put the comment up here on StreamYard because I'm using StreamYard to go live, I want to be sure that I have an opportunity to connect with you in real time here. Okay. But if I don't get to you as I am going through and having this conversation right now, I believe me, I will make sure that I get to your questions by the end of this live stream. I promise. Okay. So if you are live in real time right here with me today, I want you, as you arrive, to hashtag live as you arrive. That rhymed. Okay. Hashtag live as you arrive. But if you happen to catch me later on the replay at a later date, just be sure that you hashtag the word replay and let me know where it is you're tuning in from. Show a sister some love. Let me know you're here. Say hello. Don't be rude. Like, we're all in this together. I am here to give you the good information that I know you need and you damn well deserve. Okay. Because we are going to be getting into it today. I want to make sure that you have your pen and paper ready to take notes. And I will make sure that I give you a quick little heads up when we get to that point. Because listen, when I come to these live streams, you never want to come without your pen and paper. Why? Because I am always dropping the gems and I want to make sure that you're picking up everything I'm putting down. I want to make sure that you're getting everything I'm giving. Okay. So let me know if you're new here. If you are, been rocking with me for a while, meaning that you're one of my OGers, type in the word true because you're true to me and you're back today. I want to welcome you back. And if you're new here and this is the first time we're meeting, type in the word new and let me know that you're new. To both of you, welcome and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. So, who am I? Why should you care? And what is this all about? Well, let me just take a moment to reintroduce myself, okay, in case we have not yet met. My name is Katrina Marie. I am also known as the Boss Chick Biz Coach and your fearless leader, of course. I am a holistic business coach and RN health and wellness educator. I am also a consultant, okay? I teach successful career women just like you, and I teach high achieving entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, just like you, how to build an aligned and profitable brand and business without sacrificing your soul and sanity or compromising your health and happiness. And let me just tell you that I am well qualified, well positioned, and well groomed to be in this very position. And let me tell you a little bit about why. Mostly it's because of my own journey, right? But in case you're not familiar with my background, let me share that with you really quickly. I have worked in corporate America for 30 long years, okay? 25 years as a nurse and in a variety of healthcare settings and leadership roles for the tenure of my career. And my background, although pretty well versed, I do specialize in mental health, okay, behavioral health issues. I have an undergrad degree in psychology. And I've been in the coaching and consulting space, particularly in the online digital space, for well over a decade now, okay? In this business specifically for about 8 years, but, of course, working in coaching and consulting as well for the healthcare industry. So I know firsthand what it's like to be burnt out at the bedside, to be battling in the boardrooms, and to be busy and bogged down in business. Okay. I also know firsthand what it is like to be taking care of patients who, namely women, particularly women of color, women who are over 40 years old, women who are of the LGBTQ plus communities, okay, who have experienced a significant amount of stress and burnout. And I am here to tell you that the headaches, the heartaches, and the health issues that a lot of you are experiencing are symptoms of the hustle and excessive hard work, oftentimes within a hostile work environment, which is disruptive to your home environment, right? So believe me when I tell you that I am well positioned to talk about these matters and to equip you with my proprietary system, the Legacy Ladder Framework, which is designed to revive your business and renew your life. This is the CPR and AED of entrepreneurship that you didn't even know you needed, okay? So why am I doing this weekly series? Well, that's a great question. And the simple answer really is because it's necessary. It really and truly is necessary to have these stimulating conversations, these long overdue conversations that women are actually craving. How do I know that? Because I was one of those women, number one, and I have had multiple conversations with women in my network, women and who I have coached, women who I have just, met, interacted with on a day-to-day basis, women who are down DMing me, texting me, women who I've been in coaching and consultation calls with. I know firsthand that these are conversations that need to be had. I know what's going down in the background that a lot of us are not openly discussing because we don't feel like we have a safe space to have these conversations, okay? The women that I work with typically are those, and those who follow me are oftentimes they are very much overachievers, they are high achievers, overperformers, very much type A personalities, right? And they are doing the most. They are doing the most, okay? And many of whom are working in demanding corporate careers, right? Many of whom are running a business full time, many of whom are doing both simultaneously. So I call those parallelpreneurs, right? They're running a business full time while they're working a very demanding role in the corporate space full time. And they're raising a family and they're holding down their households and they're usually the breadwinners, right? They might even be taking care of ill family members. They might even be taking care of aging parents, right? They're in that sandwich generation and maybe even adult children who are in crises. And so they're stressed the hell out trying to get to the dream, to secure the bag, right? To secure their futures, to make a better life for themselves, right? And so they're also looking for ways to incorporate a peace of mind. They're also looking for ways to incorporate the pleasure that they so crave, that they desire, that they deserve. They're also looking for the ability to regain power and control over their current situation and circumstance. And they're looking to make bigger profits, right? So here's a little background story. I want to just take you back for a moment in time because I think it is important for you to understand the context of, how this conversation really came about, why it is I'm so passionate about having these conversations, how we got here, right? In order to know how we got here, you need to understand where it is I come from, and you need to understand where this really all began. So I'm going to spend just a little moment talking about 2020, how that affected me. And we all know that 2020 was one of the biggest devastations of our nation, right? We had the COVID-19 pandemic. And during that time, some people prevailed, some people won, right? Some people had a winning hand and they had come out on the other end with some success stories. There are those of us who actually had some successes, but we came out on the other side with some sob sad stories, right? I want to just talk about how the dreaded D's hit me back to back and below the belt, okay? Because there were some things I was very ill prepared for. And I want to have these conversations out loud because part of the problem is that when we don't have these conversations out loud, we become more a part of the problem because we are silencing ourselves and suffering in silence. And that is really problematic to our sanity, which does no good for the peace of mind we so desire to have, right? And it certainly doesn't feel good in any other way to our mind, bodies, and our souls. And so for me in 2020, I experienced, again, what I refer to as the dreaded D's. And so what are the dreaded D's? Well, and why do I call it that? Because it seems as though everything with the D happened to me. And I had to realize that it didn't happen to me, but for me. But that is a mantra that I choose to believe in and a philosophy I live by. But that is now on the other side of healing. So let's talk about it. I went through a dissolution of a business partnership during that time. Okay. I went through a very dry season in business, very dry. Okay. I went through experiencing some unexpected deaths with some very close family members, a demise in relationships. So I had to cut some dead weight from some so-called friendships that weren't so much of a friendship at all. And I had to make some hard decisions after having some very difficult conversations. Okay. I had gone through a divorce after 25 plus years, married to my soulmate, the love of my life. And by the way, this was an unwanted, I'm going to emphasize that, an unwanted divorce. This was not a divorce that I wanted to have, but that we ended up dissolving our marriage for a number of reasons. And that was just the decision that we had to come to terms with and mutually agree on. And so that was nearly 30 years of being with somebody that I love, madly in love with, and thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Okay. In addition to that, I had to downsize a house, a beautiful, not just any home, my beautiful lakefront property that we lived in together, and downsize to an apartment for the first time after nearly 3 decades of being with someone. Okay. So you can imagine the how I must have felt with all of this going on, not to mention the insurmountable debt that I was in at the time, and the decline in my health, my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health was just like going down the drain. Okay. So, and then at this time, again, going back to me having a very dry season in business, I had to do some things that I never thought I would to make money, right? To make ends meet. And I'm very resourceful, and I have, a gazillion credentials behind my name, the whole alphabet soup of credentials, 3 degrees, and 30 plus years in corporate America with some very specialized skills and experience. And let me tell you what, it was very difficult for me to find work. And that was the first. I had never experienced that before. So what it ended up happening is I had, in between this time, had to go back, find myself back into the workforce, be it a W-2 or a W-9 position. Okay. And, in either case, I was still working a job. I was still working for someone. And so now, partially because I'm a nurse, I do have to keep my license active. So in that regard, I have always, to some degree, had an independent contractor role where I'm working as a W-9, doing some seasonal work, keeping my skill set strong, keeping my clinical knowledge sharp, and all of that. And I have to go for my CEUs to keep my license active, meaning continued educational units, right? However, again, just being very transparent here, and being, very vulnerable with you in this moment, I had to go back to the workforce. And that is not something that a lot of us really and openly talk about, right? We don't openly talk about this because a lot of us, especially when you've had a level of success, you feel like almost like that's a degrading conversation to have. You feel like that is something that you are embarrassed about and that you're shameful about, right? Because you're so prideful, right? We're so prideful when we've done all the things and we've had so many successes and we've reached a level of success and gratification that we never thought we'd find ourselves treading backwards, right? We never thought we'd find ourselves regressing. We never thought we'd find ourselves in a position where a setback put us so far back when we were on the rise to our come up. And so it's just not conversations we openly have, especially when we are in the midst of the storm, right? Oftentimes we wait and we talk about these things when we are on the other side, when our success story has happened. But when we are actually in the midst of the darkness, the dark, cold place of feeling like, oh my God, how did I get here? And how the hell do I get out? We're not really talking openly about those things because we don't want anybody to know. So I just want to share that at that point, I felt very depressed. Okay. I was in and out of depression. I was feeling doubtful at times. I was feeling, unfortunately, in a desperate place, a place I never want to experience again, having that desperate energy that please, something's got to work, right? And that comes from being misaligned, which we'll talk about later. But I was feeling defeated. I was feeling depleted. I was feeling deflated. I was feeling like I had to find a way to dig myself out of this maddening hole, this maddening cycle, right? I had to dig myself out of a dump. And even with all of that going on, I had to declare that I was going to allow myself to dominate my life, not allow my life to dominate me. Okay. I live by the model then, and I still do now. And has been my mantra forever, that I am going to remain disciplined, deliberate, and determined to achieve all that I dream of, desire, and deserve. I'm going to say that again. I am going to remain disciplined, determined, and deliberate to achieve all that I dream of, desire, and deserve. And that was a critical, pivotal moment in my life at that time, because I said those words over and over and over again until I believed it, until I convinced myself that whatever I do next, whatever my next move is to get myself out of this moment in time, this is going to work. And if it doesn't, it is going to work. In other words, I didn't give myself a plan B or C or D, right? It's got to work or it's got to work, period. That was the plan. My plan B was it's got to work, period. Okay. So it is at that time in 2020 that I took a sabbatical, a self-care sabbatical, because I needed to go through a healing process to come back stronger than ever before. So back in November 11th of 2020, this was a very significant date that I'll share with you on another live stream. I've shared it before, but I don't have enough time to go into that story right now. But 11/11/2020 was a very significant date, a very meaningful time in my life. And I came back on social media after having been gone from the internet space, if you will, for quite a few months, with, again, taking that sabbatical. But before taking that self-care sabbatical, which was long overdue, well-deserved, and very much needed, I had just launched a new group coaching program, okay? And the amount of interest that I received during that time was surprising. I mean, like in a good way, pleasantly surprising. And at the same time, it was overwhelming. Why? Because again, did you hear all the stuff that I just named that I was going through? Although I know that I was having a dry season in business and I really needed this work and I wanted to make the impact, I wanted to be that influential leader. I wanted to be there for those women. And certainly I wanted to make an income, needed to make an income. I had to really decide if this was something I was going to choose to do instead of going through the healing process that I know I needed. And the reason why it was overwhelming is because I didn't even know at that point if I truly had the capacity, the wherewithal, the stamina, the energy that I needed to work with these women that I was attracting. I was attracting so many women. I cannot even count how many women connected with me during that time, okay? Who wanted to work with me, who wanted to join my group coaching program. But after talking to these women, one after one, after one, after one, I realized these women were broken. They came from broken homes, broken hearts, broken history, right? They had a broken story. Some of them were broke, And the one thing that I realized and the one thing I learned in having these conversations with each of these women is that there was a common thread that each of us had, myself included at the time, and that is we were experiencing and sharing, expressing that we were experiencing public successes and private failures, right? Public successes, but private failures. And so these were remarkable women, highly educated women who conquered the corporate ladder. They had already mastered the corporate world. They were, many of them, established business owners. These were CEOs, C-suite executives, I should say, CEOs of their own businesses, their companies, right? Doctors and lawyers and nurses and therapists and other healers, consultants and coaches. I mean, these were women who, again, despite their academic and professional successes and achievements, they found their businesses and their personal lives in a state of distress. They were feeling bankrupt. They were feeling bankrupt emotionally, physically, financially, socially, sexually, spiritually, in all the ways. And many had already secured their financial futures, yet at a significant personal cost. Their relationships were strained, some of them faltering. Their health may have been on the decline due to the relentless pursuit of their dreams and happiness. They may have looked the part on the outside, right? Whereas inside they were crumbling. They may have looked alive on the outside, yet they were slowly dying on the inside. And yet nobody in this industry at that time was openly talking about any of these things. Okay. Nobody was talking about these issues out loud. They were only boasting about how much money they made, how much success they had, how happy they were. And guess what? That makes it very uncomfortable for those of us who are going through something as horrific as I was, as horrific as you may have been, right? It makes it a very uncomfortable conversation to have because you feel like, well, how can I share my pain if everybody's just talking about how successful they are and how great they feel? If everybody's showing up and making it seem like life is just great and golden, life is just a bunches of roses, right? Like, when you're going through difficult times and you're feeling defeated and deflated and in a desperate place and like you're going through a very difficult, challenging moment in time, the last thing you feel that you can do is have these conversations out loud. So my thing was, I wanted to get to the underlying issues, like where are these issues stemming from? What is the real problem that women are having? Why is this happening to so many of us, right? We're successful, highly educated women, and we've made it to a very high level in the corporate arena, but for some reason not thriving the same in our businesses, or not thriving the same in some aspect of our personal lives. Like we're experiencing some deficiencies. We are feeling inadequate in some way because there are some missing pieces and parts that we need to supplement with something healthy in order to fulfill ourselves, right? So how can I help these women, and how can I help myself at that time reconnect to my happy place again? How can I rescue myself and revive something that I once felt passionate about, the big dream that I once had, the big goals and aspirations that I once had, that the thing that made me go into business in the first place? How can I reconnect to that? And how can I help these women do the same, right? So more than anything, what I realized that these women needed is that they craved a life of harmony, not so much even balance. I don't even believe that balance can necessarily be mastered, but I do believe in integration. I do believe in a harmonious life. I do believe in blending. Okay. So they wanted a life of harmony where their success didn't come at the expense of their health, their happiness, and their relationships. They were and still are determined to achieve more, refusing to settle for a life of mediocrity or compromise. They seek to embody their true potential, right? To make a significant impact in this world and to leave a lasting, memorable legacy, all while maintaining their well being and their internal peace. And I firmly believe that in order to expedite your external success, it is absolutely necessary and critical, in fact, to do the deeper inner work, the internal work, in order to properly heal. Okay? We cannot put a bandage on a wound, especially if that wound is inside and you are hemorrhaging. You hear me? You cannot put a bandage on a wound, right? And that's what these women were doing. They were masking their pain, they were medicating their pain, and then they didn't have an outlet to openly discuss in a safe space about the issues that they were going through, the things that were keeping them up at night. And they didn't really have anyone that they felt that they could trust to come and talk to about the issues they were experiencing. And so again, in order to eliminate that trauma, the drama, and the karma that actually lingers in every aspect of your life, when you are holding on to the things that you need to actually heal from, it's always going to follow you and keep showing up repeatedly again and again and again and again and again until you actually do something about it. And that's just the fact. Okay. And that's what was happening to me as well. And so there began, at that point in time, my own healing journey. And if you can relate to any part of this story, I want you to type the number 3 in the comments, and let me know what it is, what part of this story actually resonates with you. Okay. It is Mental Health Awareness Month in May. So this is such a timely conversation today in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. We're going to be diving into some powerful leadership strategies that will elevate your role from just running a business to actually leading a movement. Okay, so let's get into the topic of discussion. The title of this live stream is Lead Like a Legend, Strategies for Women Who Are Shaping the Future. So I want to just touch really quickly on The importance of leadership. The importance of leadership in business. Because anybody can really run a business or hang out their shingles, right? And call themselves an entrepreneur, a business owner. And while that's a sexy title, there's so much more to it than just owning a business, right? Leadership encompasses so much. And I want to get into talking about that, as well as how my CPR framework ties into all of this. So this is just going to be a high level overview, and we won't have time to dive deep into each point I make, but I will be touching first on the 4 prominent qualities of an effective leader. And that is going to start with guidance and vision. Guidance and vision, okay, as the first point. So when you are a leader, and not just any leader, an effective leader. And a thought came to my mind because there's some differences with a leader and management, but I'm not going to get into that just yet. Leadership provides direction and purpose to any company or organization. A strong leader knows how to articulate a clear vision. They set smart goals. And those goals need to be in alignment with the mission, the vision, and the values of that said company, right? Leadership inspires others to work towards that goal, that mission, those vision, or that vision, those values. Everything that the company does is driven by all that's in alignment, right, with the mission, vision, values, and goals. So as a leader, you structure your company in such a way that your decisions and every interaction you take, everyone that you connect with, other brands that you partner with, every decision that you make needs to be driven by those very things, right? So, and you also want to make sure that as a leader, your whole attitude would be a can-do spirit. There is no mission too impossible, right? Going back to my thoughts as I shared my story, this has to work or it has to work. But a leader also knows when they need to shift and when they need to pivot for the greater good of the company. So without effective leadership, businesses lack focus. A leader then will lead with confusion and confunction and chaos in their environment. There will be lots of insufficiencies. And ultimately, a business is not going to be sustainable if the leader is an ineffective leader. Okay, so the second point I want to make is the motivation and employee engagement, because that is so critical when you are hiring employees to work for you. Even people you're outsourcing your work to should be in alignment, again, with your mission, your vision, and your core values. So leaders motivate employees by fostering a positive work environment, recognizing their achievements, providing opportunities for growth. And this solicits the buy-in from those employees so that they can help you. Because see, here at the end of the day, when you're wanting buy-in from employees, and I get asked this question all the time, especially when I was a leader in corporate, but even so now as a business owner, how do you keep your employees engaged and how do you boost morale? Well, at the end of the day, people want to know, well, what's in it for me, right? The WIIFM factor, I call it, the WIFM factor. What's in it for me? And that's true. If you want me to buy into your organization and your vision, your goals, your dreams, your aspiration, what do I get in return? And so when you are taking time to recognize your employees, when you are taking time to acknowledge them and to reward them for the work they're doing, when you let your employees know, contractors, if you have those on your team too, when you let them know how much they mean to you and that you see them, that you hear them, and that what they say and what they contribute is validated and is valued, then they will in turn value you and your company and be loyal and true to you, right? And that is all a part of retention as well. So if you don't want to have employees coming through your company like a revolving door and you want to retain very valuable employees, then these are some of the things that you need to do in order to keep them. Because it's easy to hire them on. But what is the culture of the environment that you're actually setting in order for those employees to want to remain there year after year after year? And tell others about you so that they can become a part of this amazing team as well, right? So when you're ready to have employees engage and buy into all that you envision for your company to be, then you also have to embody that, lead by example, and certainly make sure that you're bringing that level of awareness into your space as you are engaging and interacting with these people that are on your team, right? These individuals who actually have the talent that you hired them to do. So that's how you're going to get employees who are more engaged, who are productive, who are innovative, and committed to the company's overall success. And then there's the decision-making and problem-solving ability, right? So leaders make critical decisions all day long. We are putting out fires. We are rolling up our sleeves or, getting in the trenches and actually doing the work many times, especially if our company is not large enough just yet. We're still in that growth and development phase where we haven't yet reached, when we haven't yet been able to expand our brand or our team. It might not be that you have somebody who's like a middle man or middle woman, right? Where you might be the everything, the CEO, the COO, the CXO, the CFO. And so you're dealing with the day-to-day operations and everybody has direct connection and access to you. So in those scenarios where you don't have just, maybe one or two or three, a few people reporting to you, you might be that go-to person and you still have to maintain your workload. So in those instances, leaders who have to make critical decisions that impact the organization's strategy, operations, and bottom line have to be quick on their feet, right? To be able to make the right decisions in any moment of time. And so your ability as a leader needs to be one that analyzes situations and considers various perspectives, not just your own. Because obviously, if you had all the answers, then you wouldn't need to have anybody else that you hired that's helping you run your business. But you need to be able to shift and pivot, as I said earlier, and make informed choices. And that is all a part of your business success, right? That's the crucial part of your business success. The ability to adapt and incorporate change management. So adaptability and change management is also critical to your company's success. Leaders know how to navigate change effectively. I have to keep saying that word. That is the operative word here today, is effective leadership. Okay, so leaders are navigating effective change. In today's dynamic business landscape, adaptability is absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. Okay? Leaders who are effective leaders are guiding their teams through transitions, because every business is going to go through a different phase within the business life, right? Within a life cycle or lifespan of the business. So leading your teams, guiding your team, supporting your team through that transition, you have to be like that transition champion for your team. no matter what your business is going through, because your business will have challenges from time to time. And you want to ensure that your organization remains competitive and resilient, right? And then there's the difference between the business owner and the business leader. A very distinct difference between a business owner and a business leader. So let's break that down. The business owner is typically somebody who holds the stake in the company, right? They're often a founder or a major shareholder. They might be a co-founder or a major shareholder. Their primary focus really then is that of ownership. They are invested financially, maybe operationally, so financial returns and long-term sustainability is their main concern. They may be able to lead by example, for sure, but their role is more about strategic planning. Their role is more about investment decisions and overall business ownership, okay? A business leader can really be anyone within the organization. However, to be an effective leader, and regardless of ownership, leaders inspire, okay? They influence, they empower, they guide, they support, they educate others. They create a positive culture. They foster collaboration and cohesiveness amongst their team members, and they drive performance. Effective leaders prioritize people and communication and organizational development over any and all things. So those are some very distinct differences. So the bottom line to that really is being a business owner is just not enough, simply put, right? It's just a sexy title, right? It sounds sexy. It carries a lot of clout. It holds a lot of weight. But does it really? Because we have to be more than our titles, right? We have to be defined by more than our titles. We have to show up as more than our titles. So sure, you can have the title of business ownership, business owner, entrepreneur, all of that. Great. However, are you an effective leader? Are you leading your legacy? Are you leading your organization, your company, your team? Are you effectively leading yourself as a leader, right? And are you leading yourself towards being legendary? So those are the questions I have for you. So type in the comments for me if you consider yourself both a business owner and a business leader, or do you choose one over the other? Have you even thought about it in this way? I'd be interested to know. So be sure to share your comments right here and let me know your thoughts around that. But then let's get into the impact of leadership, right? The impact leadership has on business growth and community influence, because strong leaders directly impact growth. Leaders definitely identify, or I should say definitely identify with growth opportunities and develop strategies and execute on plans. They grow and build high-performing teams. Okay, they attract talent. They drive innovation, and they successfully credit their growth to their visionary leadership, right? So community influence is another big part of that. Leaders play a very vital role in shaping a company's relationship with the community. So it's not just about what you do behind the scenes, behind your computer, in your office. It's what are you doing to impact your community? What are you doing right in your own backyard? How are you influencing other leaders to be better, to be greater? How are you pulling those who are steps, miles, maybe even light years behind you forward? How are you lifting them up? How do you empower? What is it specifically that you are out there doing? What kind of involvement do you have in your communities? How are you contributing to worthy causes? What is it exactly that you are doing that you can consider yourself to be an effective leader in your community. Like today is a great example. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. As an RN and as someone who actually advocates for mental health, as someone who has actually experienced some mental health issues, as someone who treats those conditions, I am a huge proponent for mental health awareness, right? And healing. So it would be doing you a disservice, and it would be almost like an injustice, right? If I did not talk about it, if I did not recognize and acknowledge that we are in the month of May, and the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So what am I doing as a leader as you are on this, tuned into this live stream? How is it that I am contributing to the conversation? What are my philosophies around that, right? How do I prioritize my mental health? What is my conversation around how I influence others to take part in being aware of their own mental health? Do you understand? So all of this is really a part of, I am literally doing that right now and leading by example. So success, community influence is everything. Ethical leadership fosters trust, social responsibility, and community engagement. And then businesses that actually actively contribute to their communities gain loyalty, they garner respect, they gain positive reputations, and therefore their businesses is sustained for a long period of time, typically, right? Obviously there are other attributing factors that would have to be considered when we talk about long-term sustainability, but you get my point. These are still important factors that make this a whole thing, right? So how does my CPR framework tie into all of this? Well, clarity and connection is what the C stands for in CPR. Those acronyms are clarity and connection. Okay, so when we talk about clarity and we think about vision and goals, clarity is crucial for both of those things as an effective leader, right? Vision serves as the guiding light for any company or organization. It provides purpose. It provides direction and motivation for employees and for you. And then we have to have a clear vision if we want to help everyone in our company understand the why, the rationale as to why we are doing what we're doing, right? Why is the reason behind the work we do? And we need to foster a sense of ownership in people, ownership in their own responsibilities for what their activities are and how they partake in whatever it is that they need to do to be a part of the team as a whole, working towards the same mission, right? Having seen the big picture, the vision of the company, of the CEO as you, the leader, in order to drive that forward, drive the business forward, keep making progress. Clarity fuels focus, right? So it's extremely important that we have clarity and that each person who is a part of the team is taking ownership and being very committed to that. Oprah, who we need not say her last name because she's a household name that, a major household name that we've all come to know, love, respect, and trust. She is an excellent example of visionary leadership because she clearly is somebody who communicates to her team what the vision is and inspires her team to help them, or help her rather, achieve her dream, right? She is someone who pioneered a new form of media innovation that broke down barriers and was, in a platform where stories that were shared were oftentimes unheard of, right? And that's how we came to know Oprah. And so when you think about your own legacy, when you think about your own position as you stand right now, when you think about what it is you envision for yourself and your company, these are the things that should be top of mind when we're talking about leading like a legend and shaping our futures as women entrepreneurs and business owners and influential leaders and catalysts for change. So here are some tips for visionary leaders that I'd like to share. You can get your pen and paper out if you don't already have it. I hope you've been taking notes. The first thing you want to do is develop a compelling vision, because this is going to be what's necessary to define your future, the future state that you're looking for your company to be in, not your right now present moment, right? Even if you're doing well right now in business, we want to be able to jump ahead visually. What is it that you actually envision for your business, for your life, for your company, for your legacy? And develop a compelling vision so that you are absolutely clear on what it is you need to do. First, where it is you're headed, and then what activities do you need to do every day? Who do you need to know? What rooms do you need to be in? How do you need to show up every day as an effective leader in order to get to that vision you have in your mind? Okay. Then communication, effective communication. I want you to communicate your vision clearly and concisely to your team. Write it down, repeat it out loud, revisit it often, put it somewhere that it is not considered out of sight, out of mind. It is right there in front of you, so you will remember it and follow it every single day and stay true to it. Okay? Definitely lead by example. Demonstrate commitment to the vision through your actions in real time, just like I'm doing right here, right now. And then empower your team, right? By providing resources, by being supportive, by being available as you can, by being accessible, by being approachable. These are the things that will help them achieve the vision. You have to be your own biggest cheerleader or loudest cheerleader and biggest fan, but you also have to be that for your team. So find different ways to boost morale and to have them make the same commitment that you are making as if it's their own. Because again, that goes back to taking ownership, right? And being just as committed as you are as a leader, because they are leaders too in their own right, as long as you can show the way and demonstrate that by example. All right. And so strategies for connecting deeply with your team and your audience. Here's some other tips. Here's what I'm doing these days and what I highly recommend for you to do as a leader, and that is to tailor your conversations to your audience interest, to their attitudes and beliefs, and to their level of understanding. So when I'm here, I'm always going to share with you what my philosophies are, what models I live by, right? And just kind of what my perspective is on various topics that I consider myself a subject matter at, or perhaps just, having you see through my lens in a way that you might have not thought of a certain thing about before, right? So also incorporate storytelling, like I did in the beginning of this conversation, right? So stories, we live for stories, right? Through stories, through TV, stories through movies, stories through books, stories through conversations with the elder, stories through, our parents, our siblings, stories through day-to-day interactions, stories through social media. Like, it's a huge connection in the culture of our existence, right? In humanity as a whole. We live for stories. So I would invite you to and challenge you to share your stories. Share your stories because they resonate with people, because they're relevant, because it garners trust faster, because it captivates attention, right? Share your personal experiences. just like I did. Why? Because they're relatable, because they foster connections, right? Because people want to get to know you as the person, the face behind the brand, right? Your internal thoughts. What is the dialogue that you have around a particular subject? What are your belief systems, right? What are your morals? What are your values? What is your vision? What is your philosophy? How do you teach? What are your methods? What is this framework about? Why do you teach this framework, right? Like, so people want to know all of that, because how else can they really get to know you as the person if you're not really sharing those things as a leader? Also, adapt your energy level to be attuned to your audience's responsiveness. And then engage on a deeper level, because truth and transparency, vulnerability, being vulnerable in moments of time where you don't really want to, but might need to, because your story, although you've ever already lived through it, is not necessarily for you to live through it again. But it does help with the healing process. It does help others who actually need your story. It does help others realize that they're not in this alone, right? And so it is really important for you to share a piece of you and your story in a way that others can resonate with and be and relate to. So make sure that you take that into consideration. And then the P in CPR is proven processes and purposeful power. Why is that important? Because proven processes is a state of procedures, right, that consistently delivers on the same results over and over and over again. It also serves as a roadmap to your team, ensuring that everyone follows the same path to achieve the desired outcome. It ensures that everybody's on the same page, visualizing, especially for your clients who need to visualize the journey, their journey, and their transformation as they are working with you as a coach, as a consultant, as a healer, as a, whatever your title is. They need to really understand and be able to see, especially if they're intangible results that you're helping them to achieve. They need to see that. They need to visualize it. They need to know, wholeheartedly that this is exactly something that they're looking for and that you can help them get there. So make sure that you're sharing that, okay? But also, purposeful leaders have a strong moral compass and a vision for their team, right? That's how they're able to lead the way so clearly. They take an ethical approach to do that. They're committed stakeholders, if you will, and they take well-being into consideration, not only for themselves, but for that of their company, their employees rather, who work for their company. And that's important, because you want to make sure that you're incorporating those same things that you want for yourself for your team as well. It shouldn't be just a one-sided situation. And then purpose provides stability and focus and a sense of meaning. So that's what the P stands for. And lastly, there's revival and resilience. And so to summarize that, resilience involves solving problems, okay, effectively, and of course, making informed decisions, which we talked about earlier, but making informed decisions under pressure is important, because having strong problem solving skills really speaks volumes to our ability as leaders to look at problems comprehensively, to break them down really into pieces, right? And then find the practical solutions for those things in a very timely manner. Resilience begins with taking care of yourself. Self priority is always going to be what enhances your well-being and the capacity for you to be able to handle any sort of workplace pressure. And by workplace, that means if you're in corporate America, as you're working to transition your way out, or if you're balancing, if you will, your corporate career alongside of your full-time business journey. Okay. So that could be a very hard balance, a juggling act. And so if you really want to make sure that you're integrating wellness, then take heed, okay, to the revival and resilience piece. Now, it is so important to kind of circle back to the beginning of this conversation where we're, again, recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month here in May. So I want to kind of bring this home for you and bring this full circle, and that let's just talk about the importance that self-care and mental health for leaders has. Okay, so, and please do take, even if you don't take notes, make a mental note, right? And make sure that you're integrating, incorporating this into your own life. And so stress and pressure is a thing, right? Especially for women business owners and leaders. They face high levels of stress and pressure on a day-to-day basis. And so the demands that are placed on us in our roles can be overwhelming, can be daunting. And I just want to make sure that you are prioritizing your self-care. It is essential. I can't say that enough. I can't stress it enough, because you want to prevent burnout. And burnout is a real thing, okay? And I want you to really consider all the ways in which you can maintain your well-being. And I have some tips for you on that. If you'd like, I can share that with you. I actually have a whole ebook that I can share with you on all things wellness. Okay. So if you're interested, let me know and we could drop the link here. But emotional resilience is huge, right? Self-care helps build emotional resilience. So leaders who care for themselves can better handle setbacks and challenges that we will inevitably face. It positively influences work satisfaction, right? And engagement and overall mental health and our overall success in every aspect of our life, to be quite frank, in every aspect of our life. Okay. And evidence suggests that resilience even protects against physical illness. So that's going to be really key as well. Many leaders resist self-care, unfortunately. These are some of the common challenges, because really due to misconceptions, if you will. And the reason for that is that they may, unfortunately, especially the women I was talking to, and this is just kind of true across the board, see that as a sign of weakness or a lack of time that they might have, right? However, I need you to know that self-care is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity for sustained leadership effectiveness, okay? It is absolutely a necessity and critical to your success. So, some tips for rebuilding or building, depending on where you are, resilience for sustained energy, or building resilience and sustaining energy. Reflect and assess. Okay, as a nurse, this is one of the first things that I do, because I always think like a nurse. We have to assess our current circumstance and situation, right? What predicament are we in right now? What is the current issue at hand? What are the underlying issues? But before we can even dive deeper, let's look at the surface and say, what's going on? What's wrong with this picture? What feels off? What feels misaligned, right? How can I go deeper into understanding myself, peeling back the layers, reflecting on my strengths, my weaknesses, my coping mechanisms, right? So effective leaders use a self-awareness as a guide to yourself and to guide others through uncertain times. Any kind of uncertainty, that would be a great guide, is to use self-awareness to do just that. And then continuous learning, of course. It's so important for us to continue to learn ourselves, our surroundings, to pay attention, to operate from a higher level of awareness. Okay, resilience can be honed and strengthened and learned, but you got to commit to lifelong learning. Adaptability and a growth mindset all contribute to resilience, right? And then purpose-driven leadership. I want you to connect your work to a meaningful purpose, right? Not just your passion, but your purpose. Because purpose-driven leaders bounce back more effectively. When I told you how I bounced back in November 11th, 2020, I really and truly came back stronger than ever before. Had I come back any sooner, I wouldn't have been ready because I was still going through the healing process. I am still on my healing journey, but I was not ready to bounce back at that time. Okay. So knowing why you lead and the impact that you want to make is all going to fuel resilience. Cultivating relationships is key. Okay. If I had at the time the right network of people that I could have conversated with, communicated with, shared some of these deep, dark, painful secrets with, other than family, right? And maybe one or two close friends. Sometimes it's just nice to be able to have people in your network who can truly understand what you're going through, what you're feeling like, who they really get you. You know, they truly get it because they're on the same or similar journey, right? They're in this entrepreneurial journey too. So they get you on a whole different level that your family and your friends cannot relate to. They just can't because they're not there. They're not in it. So cultivating relationships is very important. Interactions with others alter the magnitude of challenges and motivate persistence, right? And then just, again, a broader and deeper understanding of self, continuing to build those relationships and get into the right rooms and, you know, strengthen your network of resources. You know, and so when you're going through these setbacks from time to time, then you have people in place who you can actually call out to, you know, call up, and they can help you through that. All right. And of course, if you need to talk to somebody who is a professional about something on a much deeper level, don't hesitate to do that either. I completely believe in therapy, completely. Okay. Especially for stress management. Identify those coping mechanisms, get the help you need, find ways to relieve tension, right? Through exercising, through being active, through journaling, through praying, through meditating, you know, doing things that are fun and entertaining and joyful to you, finding your youthful place again, your happy place, reconnecting yourself to the vision and the vibe that you were feeling when you started this journey, getting connected with family and friends, making new friends, right? Getting into the right rooms, like I said, connecting with new people, learning a new skill, yoga practice. I mean, there's so many ways, so many things you can do to minimize and almost eliminate. Now, you can't maybe completely eliminate stress, but you can certainly minimize it, you know. And then, of course, the usual things that we love as women, right? Getting pampered, getting your hair done, looking pretty, getting your makeup done, your nails done, a pedicure, a manicure, a nice massage, right? Like go to a wellness resort. Like it's so many things. Travel, just whatever feels good to your soul, because that's what we're doing here is we're nurturing our souls, because there's some aspect of our lives that is deficient, in critical condition, needs saving, needs special attention. And if we were truly sick and we needed help, we would just like that be calling 911 for help if it was an emergency. Your life and your business and your legacy, if any part of it is in critical condition, you need not wait or hesitate before it's too late. Don't procrastinate in getting the help you know you need on any level. Help is readily available to us. We just have to be resourceful and seek out those opportunities, knock on some doors, make some phone calls, do some research, ask some questions, and not be too prideful, too egotistical to get the help that we need and we rightfully deserve. Okay. So mindfulness, adequate sleep, sex, all the things. There's ways, so many ways to heal yourself and feel whole and complete again. So that's really important. Now, we are right a little bit over the top of the hour. I just want to make sure that I'm acknowledging. I don't see any comments here, but if you happen to leave any on the replay, if you could not join us live, or if you had to leave because it was a longer session, and just so you know, I'm going to be spending about an hour-ish each time with you every single week, because I want to make sure you get such valuable information from these sessions, okay? But feel free to share your experiences, ask any questions, make any comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. That's important to me. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to drop your comments. Engage with the audience and other people in this community, right? I want to create a movement myself and establish a strong community right here on all the platforms, because I think it's so important for everybody to just connect with one another, collaborate with one another, and help to empower each other and lift each other up. Part of this starts by having these enlightening and stimulating conversations, right? So if you have any questions that you have to ask, or any comments, like I said, any thoughts for other conversations you'd like to have, anything within this live stream that you'd appreciate me following up on, I'm happy to do a follow-up video on or live stream on. Just let me know. And so I want you to also know that I do have a free community called the C-Suite Movement. Okay, the C-Suite Movement. So for those are for my tribe of visionettes, be sure to join the group right here, right now, today, and get in the room where we can continue some of these conversations within the group in a more private, intimate setting. It is a safe space where you might not feel so comfortable, I guess, to share out loud in an open forum. You can also feel free to DM me. You can follow me on social. I'm everywhere at One Shared Vision. That's ONE, shared as in past tense, vision as in singular. Follow me there, join the group, DM me, all the things, whichever ways it's easier for you to connect with me. I'm here. Okay? So, another thing I'm doing is I am offering you and inviting you to join me in an info session every single week, starting today at about 4 o'clock Pacific time. So that's what, 6 o'clock Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so depending where you are in the world, make sure that you join me there. We can drop the link in the comments here, or we'll make sure we have it posted in the comment section or in the actual post after this live stream ends. But that's a way in which that we can have a more intimate conversation. I only offer a few seats for people to show up live. Okay, so once I know that you're going to attend, you'll have to register, and we'll send you out a Zoom link so you can join. It's just a way for us to get better acquainted, for us to get to know each other a little bit more, to decide if we're a good fit to work together, ways in which that I can help you, to support you, to guide you through your entrepreneurial journey, and certainly a way for you to get to know me better as a coach, as a person, as a woman, right? And me to know you and what your needs are. So it's just a very informal conversation that we're having to get to know each other better, and again, get better acquainted, so I can see what it is that I can do to support you. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and we'll be sure that we do have either in the comments and or again in the post after this live stream ends, we'll have that pinned to the top for you so you can see that. And you'll just have to again register, and then we'll get you in there. So I'm looking forward to our next live stream topic, and the schedule will be on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern, every single Wednesday, same time, same place. So thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to share this broadcast out with your entrepreneurial entourage, right? Your entrepreneurial entourage, your business besties, your sister friends, your girlfriends, all the people and anybody you can think of who actually need to hear this message, because inevitably someone always does. So sharing is caring. Let's spread some love. Let's spread some joy. Let's spread the possibilities that healing has for each and every one of us, okay? And I'm just so thankful that I can be a beacon of light to many of you. And I am so looking forward to more of these conversations. I want you to remember that self-care isn't selfish at all. It's an investment in your leadership effectiveness. And I want you to prioritize your well-being so that you can lead with resilience and experience long-term success, not in just your career, not in just your business, but in all aspects of your life, which is why I am so keen on and passionate about taking a holistic approach, because I care about you as a person, as a whole being. Every part of you matters. Every part of you. So that's my time. I'm going to tune out while you tune in, okay? As always, and until next time, I am wholeheartedly in this journey with you. Bye for now.